collapsed at Palmer. Meanwhile, crews are fighting another big wildfire in Eklutna. We'll have the latest live.
Plus, the procession to honor a Palmer police officer killed in the line of duty. And
state lawmakers are crunching to get their work done before the session ends tomorrow.
Also tonight, a special report on the road to change in Whittier coming up next on the News Hour.
The Channel 2 News Hour, sponsored in part by the Nye family of dealerships. There must be a reason why more Alaskans choose Nye. And by Johnson Tire Service. We give you more to go on. Maria Downey, Steve McDonald, John Carpenter with sports, and Jackie Purcell with the weather. This is the Channel 2 News Hour.
Fire in Eklutna is one of a series of wildfires burning throughout South Central tonight. Good evening. Fire crews from throughout the valley, Anchorage, the military, and the Division of Forestry are out in full force tonight.
Wildfires have been burning since late this afternoon, fueled by dry conditions and strong winds. Fire crews responded to Eklutna, Big Lake, Sutton, and the Palmer Butte area today. This is the latest picture. Actually, right now you're seeing a map of where some of these fires are burning. The biggest fire, about 35 acres, burning in the Clark-Wolverine area at Lake Mountain near Butte. About 6 acres are burning in Eklutna. Both areas have been evacuated. Fire crews also battled smaller fires in Big Lake, on Kinnick Road, Echo Lake, and Sutton.
Joining us now from Palmer, Dan Fagan with the very latest on the wildfires and the evacuations. Dan.
Maria, as you can see behind me, there's smoke billowing out of this Clark-Wolverine area where they've evacuated somewhere in the number of 50 homes. We are told that these are all voluntary evacuations, but they are not letting people in this area. So state troopers are set up here to control the area to make sure that it is safe. We are also told that there are several engines back in there firing, trying to fight the fire. There's some airplanes we've seen above trying to take care of the fire. 20-plus acres are burning at this point. We're told that there is an active burning going on right now. The winds are heading in the east-southeast. That's the direction of the fire here at the Clark-Wolverine area. 12 structures are threatened. There were some earlier reports that 2 houses were destroyed, but state troopers tell us that that is not the case as far as they know. But there are 12 structures that are threatened. Now, we're going to show you some video right now of the scene over by the Clark-Wolverine area where they're trying to keep some of the homeowners out. Now, this is raw videotape. It is unedited, but you can see they arrested a man who was trying to get back up into his home. The troopers would not let him in because they did not feel it was safe. The man was arrested, I believe, for assaulting a trooper. We'll have to check with Sergeant Arno about that right now. She's standing right here with me. But as you can see, it's a very tense situation. Obviously, homeowners are watching all of this. They can't get in. They've got pets. They've got homeowners. But obviously, troopers have their best interest in mind. They're trying to keep the area safe. We have with us now Sergeant Arno. Sergeant, tell us about what you're doing to keep this area safe right now.
Essentially, we're trying to control traffic to assist the Forest Service.
And as far as evacuations, there are no forced evacuations?
We are not forcing anybody to leave. We're advising them of the fire, the path of the fire, and that they should leave the mountain.
Have you been up there? Have you seen the blaze?
Yes, I have.
What did you see?
There's a lot of smoke. There's some flame, and there's a lot of firefighters that are working really hard.
Does it appear to you that any structures are in serious danger?
I have not seen that. I am not familiar with the entire perimeter of the fire, but I did not see that or hear of it.
This is obviously a difficult time for homeowners. I know troopers are doing their best to protect the area, but can you understand their frustration trying to get back home?
Absolutely, I understand their anxiety, but I think we can protect them better if we can get the emergency vehicles in and out.
Thank you very much, Sergeant Arsenault, for joining us. Arno, excuse me. Now, we're going to show you another blaze, and if you can pan over here, Justin, you'll see in proportion to where this blaze, this is the Eklutna fire, where Tim Woolstern is standing by in the newsroom to cover more information on that. So, Stephen Maria, we will toss it back to you and show you, give you some more information on that.
There.
Okay, Dan Fagan reporting out in the valley tonight. Channel 2's Tim Wilson has just returned from a flight over the Eklutna Lake fire. He joins us now live from the newsroom with the latest on that blaze. Tim.
Steve, Maria, not a lot of official information because there is practically no one on this fire at this point. A lot of resources dedicated to what's going on out in the Palmer Butte area. And as I said, this fire way back about 4 miles off the Glen Highway up the Eklutna River, burning out of control at this hour. We were up in a helicopter now about a half an hour ago, right over the blaze. As you can see, the flames and the smoke billowing up into the air. hard to say just how much has already burned, but it is burning out of control, and you may be able to tell that in amongst the green spruce, a lot of spruce bark beetle-killed trees, a lot of fuel for this fire, and it is burning now toward the west, where the wind, about 20 knot, 23 knot winds in that area, pushing that fire toward the west. No homes in the immediate path of the fire, at least as far as we could see, homes or cabins. It is burning right along the Eklutna River there, about 4 miles from the highway, just about halfway to Eklutna Lake. But you can see how high those flames are whipping at this time. But there are several homes, 3 or 4 homes, just on the east edge of the fire. And it looks as though in an area you might be able to make out right there where it's been cleared. I don't know exactly what they may have been doing there in terms of clearing, but they may, speculation that there might have been some burning of some debris after an area was cleared right there, right near 3 or 4 homes in that area, which may have sparked this fire. But again, it is out of control. There are just 2 fire trucks on scene. We understand those are from the Chugiak Volunteer Fire Department, but we don't think that they even have any water, and they were not attempting any sort of attack on this fire. Again, a lot of resources being dedicated to what's happening out in the Palmer area. We are told from the Division of Forestry that they may send a couple of aerial tankers that way to perhaps drop some fire retardant on this fire, but that decision has not been made at this point. They are bringing crews up from the lower 48 from Oregon to fight the forest fires in general, but they haven't decided yet exactly where they're going to send which firefighters at this point. Steve, Maria?
Okay, Tim, and once again now, there have been some evacuations, but no homes have been lost in the Eklutna area.
There were people in and around the homes that we saw that were right on the edge of that fire, within, probably 100 or 200 feet of where the fire obviously had begun. They have apparently evacuated the campground at Eklutna. Don't know how many people may have been there, but they have evacuated the campground there. But there didn't appear to be any homes right in the direct line of where that fire is burning that they would have had to worry about evacuating, at least right near the fire. They have closed the road that heads back into that area, probably 2 or 3 miles from the leading edge of the fire. And so that road is blocked off. So anybody who does live in that area is going to have a hard time getting back there. Again, it's about 4 miles back in the Eklutna Valley up the river, almost halfway to Eklutna Lake.
Okay, Tim Wilson reporting from the newsroom tonight. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Today's fires come less than 3 years after the Miller's Reach fire in the valley. That blaze broke out in early June of 1996. Winds fueled that fire for nearly 3 days, eventually burning more than 37,000 acres of land and 433 structures. Fire crews from across the state and even the lower 48 were used in controlling that fire. Fortunately, no one was killed in the Miller's Reach fire. The dry, windy weather in the valley is also creating dangerous fire conditions here in Anchorage. Today, the Division of Forestry and the Anchorage Fire Department suspended all burn permits in the city. Last week, the fire department began issuing permits allowing people to burn things like leaves, grass, and dead trees from their yards. But as of today, the program is suspended until conditions improve. The fire department says if they discover a fire on someone's property, it'll take action. And they say that they will put the fire out. However, they will not offer citations or issue citations. They say they'll try to plan to educate people about the dangers of burning. About 1,200 burn permits have been issued in the Anchorage area so far this season. The ban on open burns also affects the valley and the Kenai Peninsula.
They've come from all corners of law enforcement to show their respect and remembrance of one of their own, Officer James Rowland. The slain officer was honored today by dozens of law enforcement officers who traveled in procession back to Palmer. Rowland's body was being moved from Anchorage to his hometown. People stood alongside the road to watch the long procession of cars head to Palmer. It was an incredible show of support, stirring up many emotions for the officers that rode along with the motorcade. Channel 2's Laura Tanis has a Palmer police officer's perspective.
It seemed like it stretched for miles. A procession of law enforcement officials from Anchorage, Wasilla, and Palmer bringing Officer James Rowland home.
We're family. I mean, you know, we work the same job. We just do it in different communities. And when one of us dies, it's like it's hurting. And in all of us getting together, it's a healing process.
But that healing process will take time. The closer they got to Palmer, the stronger their emotions became.
And then as we passed cars at the memorial, it was more than I could take. I mean, you know, the tissue came out of the glove box, and we had a moment of tears. It's just sad that this has happened.
It's a tragedy that has shaken the community and law enforcement officers, especially those who worked with Roland.
You know, every time something like this happens, I always think, you know, is this what I really want to do? You know, but then driving down the road and looking at all the people there and all the kids standing on the side of the road with their families, you know, we need to be there for everybody, and everybody needs us just as much as we need them.
Today, everyone came together for James Roland, his family, and for each other. Laura Tanis, Channel 2 News.
Visitation for the Palmer police officer will be held throughout the day Thursday at the Assembly of God Church in Wasilla. The memorial service will be held at 2 o'clock on Friday.
Most of the attention in the legislature during the waning days of the session are devoted to the short and long-term budgets. But there are other issues being debated as well. Some of these will have a great impact on state workers, the elderly.
Happened earlier. And right now, our current temperature is 60 degrees. Relative humidity has actually come up to 25%. Winds are out of the south-southeast at 15 miles per hour, but could be as gusty as 35 miles per hour this evening. So we're not under a wind advisory, but they are out toward Palmer. Our barometric pressure is rising. High temperature today, 62. We're above average in that category. A little below average in terms of the low last night at 38 degrees, and also moderate air quality for Anchorage. Gusty winds continuing through this evening, as we said, to 35 miles per hour. There's a high wind advisory for Palmer and Wasilla through this evening. Their winds are expected to be northeast to 40 miles per hour, and of course, that is also causing an air quality advisory out there because of the smoke and the blowing dust. Clear skies for us tonight, and those winds should ease up after sunset down to 40 above, and to tomorrow, 58 degrees, a little bit cooler, increasing clouds. That should also increase our humidity, and even some showers a possibility as we head toward the afternoon and evening hours. Now, that would be good news. And we'll talk about the relative humidities later on the news hour. Very, very dry over much of Alaska.
Okay, Jackie, thanks very much.
Coming up next on the news hour, another deadly avalanche, this one near Sitka.
Plus, fishermen are getting ready to dip salmon out of the Copper River. His friend managed to leap out of the way and suffered only scrapes and bruises. Mitashvili suffered severe trauma and was killed instantly. Investigators think the hot weather and steep ravine contributed to the slide. Crews are still trying to find the source of an oil leak in Whittier, while the Coast Guard is trying to determine if the oil's done any damage. Oil's been flowing from a storm drain near the small boat harbor. The Department of Environmental Conservation says it's entering Passage Canal at a rate of a gallon an hour and has reportedly created a 2-mile-long sheen. Containment boom is now surrounding the storm drain. Late this afternoon, the Coast Guard began flying over the scene to determine if wildlife is in any danger. The DEC says it still doesn't know where the oil is coming from.
The red salmon are running into the Copper River, and soon it will be time to dip them out. The State Department of Fish and Game says the personal use dip net fishery on the Copper River will open June 11th and will last 36 hours. That first opening is subject to change if fewer fish than expected show up in the river. Permits are available from the Fish and Game offices in Fairbanks and Chittenden. Meanwhile, the Togiak Sacro herring fishery opened this morning. It's Alaska's largest sacro fishery. The Seine fleet got to fish for just 10 minutes.
Short one, too, huh? Time now for an early look at sports. John Carpenter joins us from the newsroom. Carp, what's going on tonight?
The NBA and NHL playoffs continue. I'll have the latest on both fronts. Meantime, Penny Hardaway may choose not to continue with the Orlando Magic. The All-Star guard says he'll test the free agent waters this summer. He's unhappy with his role in Orlando. Barry Sanders has been unhappy with the Detroit Lions the entire offseason. His dad says he's ready to retire. Lions coach Bobby Ross says if he does decide to quit, he needs to tell the team by June 1st. Day one of the Region 4 soccer tournament, the Togiak Mustangs whipped West 5-1 this afternoon. I'll have the highlights from a windy Anchorage football stadium. Those stories, along with the rest of the day's sports, coming up in just a bit on the News Hour.
Carp, thanks a lot.
Hey, Stephen.
And in just a few minutes, we'll hear again live from Dan Fagan. He'll give us an update on those wildfires in the valley. But first, next up on the News Hour, second part of our series, Whittier, The Road to Change. Lori Stevens is in.
Steve, Maria, yesterday we talked about Whittier's accommodations. Today, we talk to the people who live there. Are they ready for the road to change?
To our grandmothers, breast cancer spells fear.
Today, you don't need to be afraid. Radical surgeries are on the decline due to improvements in therapy and early detection.
There are many resources available in our community where women can learn about breast cancer, risk, and detection.
Education is key. It empowers women.
Make informed decisions. It's a different world from our grandmothers.
Providence Imaging Center, Cancer Therapy Center, and KTUU TV remind you to take care of your health.
Come to Sears, Alaska, where you'll find the quality you trust at the prices you love. At Sears Brand Central, you'll find the latest in home appliances, refrigerators, ovens, dishwashers, and dryers by Kenmore, Whirlpool, and other top names. For cooking, cleaning, or just making your life a little easier. When it comes to quality, dependable appliances built for a lifetime of service, Sears is the place. For the best selection in Alaska and the name brands you trust,
come to Sears.
Tonight starts with Friends and Frasier. Why, you'll be giddy as a schoolgirl. And a Tuesday opportunity to
rack up a few more frequent Frasier miles.
Just Shoot Me's new When Nina Dates a Criminal and the cop chasing him.
I made a list weighing their pros and cons. Roy is a con.
I know, I have that right here.
And the dangerous new Third Rock.
I'm one finger hold away from death.
NBC Tonight starts with Friends and Frasier. Tonight, Jay's all new with Star Wars Samuel L. Jackson and supermodel Heidi Klum. Also this week, Star Wars Liam Neeson and Men About You's Paul Reiser. Then on Conan, Timothy Dalton and Wild Animals tonight.
Joining us now in Palmer with the very latest on the wildfires there, and especially the Lazy Mountain fire, Dan Fagan. Dan.
Yeah, Maria, we are right by the Old Glen Highway, just near the Clark Wolverine area, where the U.S. Forestry Department tells us 20-plus acres are burning at this hour. And we're going to show you some video of just down the road from us where the troopers are keeping people out of their homes. The video will show you that people are trying to get back to their homes, but troopers do not want to let them back there for fear that they may be injured. 50-some homes have been evacuated. 12 structures are threatened, we are told. Again, 20-plus acres are burning in the Clark Wolverine area. Now, I want to show you another fire that's burning right now. The Euclidna fire over here. You can see where it is in proportion to the other fire. And we're going to show you some video of this fire right now from the air. And we are told that this fire is also burning out of control. It's right in the midst of some spruce bark beetle kill. They are using airdrops via helicopter, we are told. Some structures are in danger. This blaze is 4 miles west of the Glen Highway, and it is burning towards the Glen Highway. So authorities are obviously working very hard in both of these locations to control both of these situations. Steve, Maria.
Okay, Dan, thanks very much. Dan Fagan reporting live from the Clark Wolverine area and out in the Palmer area.
Thanks, Dan. We'll have some updates later on that fire situation. And right, Maria's in.
Yes, with my two-part series, the second of my two-part series, Steve and Maria. Next May, the road to Whittier opens wider. A road connecting Whittier to the outside world will make it quicker and easier to access the small community and Prince William Sound. In the second of our two-part series, we talk to people who call Whittier home and see whether they are ready for the road to change.
On a rainy, cold, windswept day, it's hard to imagine why anyone would want to be here. Ed Werner's lived here the better part of 10 years.
Whittier is a slice of rural America on the seacoast. It's really underdeveloped. In a lot of ways, it's a step back in time.
And Ed likes it that way. As a reporter for the city's new newspaper, he's got his finger on the pulse of change. He's got his own opinions, too.
I think it's going to be a madhouse. I think that there's going to be buildings going up and construction going up and people squabbling over land and people squabbling over business rights.
Longtime resident Babs Reynolds is getting ready to sell buffalo burgers to tourists, like she does every summer.
You want me to come in underneath and catch a corner?
She could be sitting on a gold mine, what with the 900,000 visitors expected when the road opens. But Babs Reynolds doesn't see it that way.
And I can conceivably sell it, and it'll be worth quite a bit of money, but my home will be gone. So now, is it worth giving up your home for some money in your pocket? I don't think so.
Scuba diving tours, glacier.
Making a living on Prince William Sound is a passion for Mike Bender, dropping off kayakers and scuba divers, showing visitors the wildlife and the wilds, worrying about all the company he's going to have.
There'll be a flood of folks coming into Whittier, and they'll all have their boats and go out and camp on the beaches and kind of basically clog the place up.
But of course, there are those who disagree. Those who feel that growth is good and that Whittier is ready for it. Kirk Leffler's in a hurry. He's constructing a high-quality building, hoping to lease it out and cash in on the new wave of business that's coming Whittier's way. But the resentment many locals feel toward outside developers does not apply. Kirk's lived here 4 years full-time, and he's excited about the influx of new blood he expects will revitalize the small city.
There certainly is an opportunity, and I'm trying to exploit that as best I can. But at the same time, I'm not doing it in such a way that I think will do anything other than benefit the town.
And there are plenty of like-minded townspeople. Yet, in the end, opinion changes nothing. The road is coming to Whittier, and those who don't like it are mostly resigned to it. For Babs Reynolds, a little tongue-in-cheek humor helps.
I'm just going to hang around, and I'm going to watch all the fun when it comes down.
By the way, the fun comes down 1 year from this month, so the people of Whittier definitely have their work cut out for them.
A lot of big changes. What about the railroad shuttle? Will that continue or discontinue between Whittier and Anchorage?
Well, the road.
Now, so is Whittier ready for the road?
Well, as far as accommodations go, absolutely not. You know, it's basically a work in progress that's going to take several years. Now, when the road, interestingly enough, was first proposed back several years ago, they had set aside millions and millions of dollars for Whittier to accommodate, you know, the big influx of people, hundreds of thousands of people. But that money does not exist anymore. So basically, the city is hoping to get more funding from federal and local and state government, and also looking very much to the private sector to fill in the gaps and to hurry as fast as they can to meet the need. Like I say, they've got 1 year to do it. So we wish them luck.
Yes,
Lots to be done.
Thanks,
we'll be keeping an eye on it.
Lori Stevens reporting.
Well, Representative Don Young plays the name game.
In business news, the North Slope crude remains in a slump, losing another 83 cents a barrel to close at $15.11.
And on Wall Street, the Dow was off just over 16.5 points today, while the NASDAQ dropped nearly 3.5 points.
It's the Jeep Spring event, and great deals on your favorite Jeep vehicles are showing up wherever you look. Like a low $269 a month.
Of North America's highest peak has risen to the middle of controversy on Capitol Hill.
I just think that Alaskans should have a right to have the mountain named after, very frankly, anybody they want to. It was Denali. It's always been Denali.
But on maps in and out of Alaska, the mountain is Mount McKinley, named after our 25th president, Ohio's William McKinley. Alaska Congressman Don Young wants to change what Americans call the mountain with a bill in Congress. He wants the 20,300-foot peak labeled with its Athabascan name, Denali, which means the high one.
This is an issue that I believe I can win on.
Young's argument begins with the fact that there's no proven record President McKinley ever actually stepped foot in Alaska. A gold miner gave the mountain its name. But Young's problem isn't with McKinley or presidential memorials. It's with another elected official from Ohio.
Now we're going to see, we'll see what happens in the long run about doing things that affect things in my state.
Ohio Republican Ralph Regula has fought to keep McKinley's name atop Alaska's horizon for 20 years now. Not only is he from the former president's home district, but he attended William McKinley University. Last week during a heated budget debate, Ohio's Regula sided against his Republican colleagues from Alaska on the Glacier Bay fishing dispute.
He took the side of the Park Service against the delegation, And that shows me he doesn't have much consideration or respect for what I'm trying to do. And there's no reason it should be named Mount McKinley. And so if he wants something named after, let him name the Ohio River. Let him call it McKinley River, as far as I'm concerned.
Mr. Regula wouldn't talk to Channel 2 about Mount McKinley, or about Glacier Bay for that matter. But for Mr. Young, the climb to rename America's tallest mountain is just beginning. Jonathan White, Channel 2 News, Washington.
Mr. Regula's office did issue a written statement late today. In the statement, the Ohio Republican expressed annoyance and dismay over Don Young's attempts to change Mount McKinley's name.
Still ahead, getting ready for the running season. Ty Hart's here with more.
Well, Steve Maria, as many more and more Alaskans hit the jogging trails, pun intended, many are running into injuries. A few tips when we come back.
The event you've been waiting for.
Trails, more and more Alaskans are lacing up the running shoes and heading outside. However, more and more are also running into trouble, coming down with everything from Achilles tendonitis to shin splints. Tonight's a few tips on preventing one of the most common running injuries, plantar fasciitis, a condition you may have but never knew what it was called.
Go! It's Alaska's extra season. Between spring and summer, running season is now in full stride, and with it, running injuries.
Just a lot of overuse. People get really gung-ho, too much too quick.
One of the most common, plantar fasciitis, hitting 2 million Americans a year.
Commonly described as a stone bruise. People say, I feel like I got a bruise on the bottom of my heel. I stepped on a rock.
That pain is coming from a ligament-type tissue called the fascia, connecting the heel to the front of the foot.
If you measure the arch from, say, point A to point B under the heel, now you collapse the foot will increase in length, and so this fascia will pull.
And combined with flat feet or overuse, also stretch, causing pain that could last weeks or even longer.
It could really happen year-round, a higher incidence this time of year just because more people are getting outdoors and increasing their intensity.
With most running shoes only made to last 3 to 6 months, what you're wearing could make all the difference. That overpronation made possible by shoes that are too flexible.
And even if they don't run them every day, if they're wearing them around to work or around the yard or shopping, they're getting some wear out of those shoes. So a lot of it is running on shoes that are worn out.
And the time to think of treatment is now. The longer the initial problem, say doctors, the longer the treatment.
Now, that treatment could include custom-made orthotics or, in very rare cases, even surgery.
Now, what kind of treatments could you try before calling the doctor?
Well, several things you can do. The first, over-the-counter arch supports. They work in kind of about 80 to 85% of the cases. They stop the foot from rolling too far forward. They say that you should keep those in all of your shoes that you use, from golf shoes to dress shoes to hiking shoes. Also, calf stretches and taping of the foot can help. Also, icing and getting off of your foot for a while also is a good idea. If none of that works, it's probably a good idea to hike on over to the podiatrist and have it looked at.
Hike on over. Don't run over. Hike over.
Like a car.
Thanks, Ty Hart reporting. And we'll be back with weather and more news right after this.
Hello. I get sick. To the north of Anchorage, temperatures have been fairly warm today. 66 degrees right now at Elmendorf Air Force Base. Up toward Fort Rich, it is also 66. Toward Anchorage International, it is 60 degrees. Gerd was reporting 58 over the last 60 minutes. A serious situation as a result of the very dry weather over most of Alaska. Very low relative humidities from south central Alaska on into the eastern interior up toward Fairbanks between 15 and 30%, and in some cases lower than 15%. That is considered a critical situation. You can see a little bit of an organization of low pressure. It's weak low pressure, but it could start to reform and produce some clouds. They've already started to come through the Copper River Basin over toward the eastern edge of Prince William Sound, so we could see an increase in clouds beginning this evening on into tomorrow, perhaps bringing us a chance of rain. That would be some good news. High temperatures into the interior actually cooled off slightly. 55 for Fairbanks. McGrath still warm at 62, 58 over toward Bethel, and temperatures warming up toward the northwest. 55 in Nome, 47 for Kotzebue. Along the Arctic slope, spring is coming with temperatures into the 20s over toward the Panhandle. Some cloud cover kept things cool. Temperatures mostly into the 40s, even around Juneau, 49, and down toward the southern end, it was only as warm as 54. The hot spot closer to south central Alaska toward Willow, 64 degrees, and Nuiqsut was the cold spot along the Arctic slope at 12 above. Talking about those dangerously dry humidity levels across the state, you can see this is the most serious area, and that is just over toward the Copper River Basin, but it extends as far as that critical situation into the interior and lessens, of course, as farther out you go and the closer to the coastline, but extremely dangerous. Here's the forecast. Very dry conditions to continue. Weak low pressure could start to form and bring some clouds our way, but otherwise it doesn't look as though it's going to be much change. Now for a look at the lower 48, mild over toward the eastern half of the nation, where in San Francisco today, it was bike to work day.
Good morning.
And you also had some prizes if you rode your bike. They had nutrition bars on hand, a pancake breakfast. So weather was obviously cooperating on the West Coast. Not quite the case for the East Coast. They still see some severe weather, very wet. Luckily, no severe thunderstorms this evening, but they have seen record amounts of rainfall in some parts of the lower 48. I'll get back to the state of Alaska, and you can see along the Arctic slope, they should see some sunshine for tomorrow with temperatures into the 20s. Kotzebue up to 44 under sunny skies. Fairbanks still seeing dry weather, sunshine, a high of 62. Clouds increasing over toward Glen Allen with 55, their high. Possibility of some showers developing in the afternoon and evening. More dry, sunny weather for the north and western part of the state. Toward Nome, 48, 62 above for McGrath, and Bethel should see a high of 60. King Salmon getting some sunshine and a high of 60 degrees, but Kodiak, Coal Bay, and St. Paul seeing rain developing. There will be some scattered showers over toward the southeast. And for south central Alaska, perhaps some showers developing in the afternoon and evening. Cordova and Yakutat could see a higher chance of precipitation. Wasilla, Palmer, and Kenai looking at some sunshine, but that definite chance of showers in the afternoon. It's really pretty slight, 30%, but you know, it can happen in the summertime. That's generally a rule. And here's a look at our 5-day outlook. It looks though it's going to be pretty nice. Maybe some cloud cover as we get toward the weekend, but it shouldn't be a spoiler. In fact, I guess the better forecast would be for more rain.
Yeah, we could use some right now.
Almost feel guilty for enjoying all that sunshine.
We even had a dust devil reported in the Anchorage area, Arctic in 36. Didn't get more than 100 feet high, though.
Oh, boy.
But it did whip things around.
Interesting. Thanks, Jackie. Time for sports. John Carpenter's here. Playoff update.
The Colorado Avalanche have whipped the Detroit Red Wings around and out of the playoffs. We'll have the highlights. Stay with us.
Of acres of dry spruce for fuel, and today the winds whipped up. And tonight we have 2 large wildfires burning out of control.
Here's what we can tell you at this point. Fires broke out almost simultaneously this afternoon in several different areas. Echo Lake near Wasilla, near Big Lake, near Palmer, and near Eklutna. The Big Lake and Echo Lake are under control, but in the Eklutna River Valley and in the Clark-Wolverine area near Palmer, wildfires continue to spread.
We start tonight at the Clark-Wolverine fire just east of Palmer. That's where Channel 2's Dan Fagan is live tonight with News Star 2. Dan, what's the latest out there?
Tim, the State Forestry Department tells us that there are now 100 acres burning out of control here in this area. And troopers tell us that noon tomorrow is the very earliest they will consider allowing homeowners to get back into their homes. That's noon tomorrow. Now, we have some fresh video shot just minutes ago by photographer Paul Martell. The Forestry Service brought him up there to see what was going on as far as controlling the fire. Again, 100 acres are actively burning right now. We're told some 50 homes have been evacuated. Some structures have been threatened, but as of now, no damaged homes at this point. The big key here is the wind. Will the wind die down? If it does, hopefully firefighters believe this blaze will be able to be brought under control. Now, this has obviously been a very frustrating day for homeowners.
On the lake, what's the scoop?
Road's closed. We're working on getting everybody out.
You know what? I got 2 kids up there.
We're working on getting everybody out. Okay?
And I can't get in there?
No, sir. Sorry.
Families living in the Clark-Wolverine area could only wait, watch, and hope for the best. Troopers couldn't allow them back in their neighborhoods. The fire was too dangerous. Some understood, others did not.
Sorry, sir, the road's closed. Can't let anybody up. We're working on getting everybody else out.
Okay, I understand
No,
that.
sir, you can't go up there, sir.
Is there somebody I can talk to? We're part of a group that rescues dogs.
No, sir, we can't let anybody up there.
Well, who's we?
State troopers, sir.
Well, who's in charge here?
Lieutenant Stickler, he's at Palmer Post.
Troopers kept busy today keeping people out. Some made it through the area using four-wheelers. But that slowed down the bombers dropping fire retardant. If a four-wheeler was in the area, a bomber would have to retreat.
Step out and get down on your knees.
This man was so determined to get to his home, troopers say he almost ran over one of them. He was arrested for felony assault of a police officer. Meanwhile, in the woods, dozens of firefighters continue to battle the blaze any way they could. Their best chance, the wind dying down.
Hopefully, as it gets cooler and the humidities come up tonight, hopefully the wind will drop. That's the wild card right now.
10-year-old Andrew was home earlier in the day when the fire began. How close was it to your home?
When I left, it was about 10 yards.
From your home?
Yeah.
The flame?
Yeah.
Pretty scary.
Yeah, very scary.
People here are in for a long, stressful night, not knowing if everything they own is safe. All they can do is wait and hope the wind dies down. Now, troopers tell us that the reason they're keeping people out, obviously, they're concerned for their safety. They say that's their only motivation. And again, they say the earliest that they will consider allowing people to get back into their homes will be noon tomorrow. Hopefully something will change overnight that might allow them to go back home earlier. But at this point, the very earliest is noon tomorrow. Tim Heather.
Now, Dan, what are they doing for those folks who've been evacuated from their homes tonight?
Well, the Red Cross has set up a shelter just about a half a mile down the road here on the Old Glen Highway at the Seventh-day Adventist, Matanuska Valley Seventh-day Adventist School. They are asking you that you bring your own bedding. If you're going to come, they're going to provide a meal and shelter and first aid for anyone who might need help, who has been displaced tonight because they can't get back to their home. And again, there are quite a few people here who are not going to be able to go home tonight, and that obviously is a very difficult thing for them, so this shelter should provide some help for them.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Channel 2's Dan Fagan live tonight from an area near Palmer. Forestry officials tell us the fire of most concern now is shifting to Eklutna. Crews are able to get to the Clark Wolverine fire, and it's alder, grass, and low brush burning there. But near Eklutna, the fire is burning black spruce, a better fuel for fire, and there is quite a bit of dead, beetle-killed trees in that part of the Chugach forest.
The Eklutna fire has now burned over 150 acres in the Eklutna Canyon, about 4 miles up the Eklutna River from the Glen Highway, burning right along the Eklutna River Road. No homes have been damaged or are threatened at this point.
The first subdivision in harm's way is Thunderbird Heights, about 3.5 miles from the leading edge of the fire at this point, but strong winds are pushing that fire to the west toward the highway and toward that subdivision, so there is some concern about that tonight. And while there are fire crews on scene, they are not actively fighting the fire. Tough terrain and other problems out there, a narrow canyon making it difficult to get planes in to fight it from the air. With more on the Eklutna fire now, here's Channel 2's Elizabeth O'Hara.
The plume of smoke could be seen miles away in Anchorage and throughout the valley. Within minutes, it scorched several acres, forcing homeowners at the bottom of the road to decide whether they should return to their homes.
It hasn't come to the road yet?
As last information I have.
So you're advising us not to go through, but you can't really stop us.
That's what I'm saying.
Good. You want to go, Don?
Yeah, I'm going to go home.
While some raced back to their homes, others opted not to and found comfort among friends. Close up, it was clear this fire was a tough one for firefighters who eventually sent nearby campers packing.
We started to investigate it, and that's when we bumped into the fire department. They said that they were concerned that it might jump the road, and they just want to be careful. So we decided to pick up stakes and head on out.
The kids did a really good job packing up and getting out real quick. We were all pretty calm and did what we needed to do.
With mountain bikes and sleeping bags stowed in trucks, the camping trip was officially over. All this because firefighters say a homeowner had an open burn that got out of control.
I had a big fire break cut, but apparently the winds kicked up today and it jumped the fire break.
As of early this evening, no homes were damaged, though flames were in striking distance of 2 houses. But a problem hampering firefighters is the area is remote and potentially dangerous to crews.
There's no roads to where the fire are and very few trails, and it's really boggy and down low, so we can't get any equipment in there.
And with a strong wind, these flames could easily get bigger and stronger. Elizabeth O'Hara, Channel 2 News.
And the warm, dry weather that contributed to today's blazes is not expected to change much over the next 24 hours. Extremely low humidity levels across much of south central and interior Alaska are considered critical, according to fire weather forecasters. Clouds are expected to increase late tomorrow, and winds should taper off around midnight. But overall, conditions will remain dry. Thursday could hold a better chance for rain. Jackie will have the latest information a little later during weather.
We'll obviously keep you posted on the fire situation as well, and the latest tomorrow morning on the Morning Edition. In other news tonight, law enforcement officials escort the body of a fallen officer from Anchorage back home to Palmer today. Patrol cars formed a lengthy procession, returning the body of Palmer police officer James Rowland to the valley after an autopsy was completed.
As you're coming across the valley, you know, you look, and all I could see in the river mirror was red lights. And it's just so emotional. It's just more than I can handle.
Visitations are scheduled throughout the day. On Thursday at the Assembly of God Church in Wasilla, a memorial service will be held Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
A Bethel teenager is in custody tonight, and up to 8 more are under investigation. Police are investigating whether they may have been planning a violent attack at the high school, where all are students. Authorities say the teen in custody had already been on probation and that they found bomb-making materials in his home, along with information on how to make explosives. The town is still trying to heal from the Yvonne Ramsey shootings at Bethel High School 2 years ago. Meanwhile, a group of students from Columbine High School talked to lawmakers today, offering them suggestions on how to prevent future tragedies. The Senate is still struggling with the juvenile justice bill aimed at toughening penalties on juvenile offenders. The Senate agreed today to ban bomb-making information on the internet and to allow religious memorials on public school grounds.
As the bombing in Kosovo is about to enter its 3rd month, there is new talk of peace tonight. Tomorrow, Russian officials will head to Belgrade with the outline of a new peace pact. The specifics are unclear. The movement toward peace comes the same day the U.S. released 2 Serb soldiers held in Germany since their capture. U.S. officials insist the release was not a payoff for the 3 American soldiers let go a few weeks ago. President Clinton is also not yet ruling out sending American combat soldiers into Yugoslavia.
The Makah Indian tribe is receiving death threats and other nasty calls and emails following yesterday's successful hunt of a gray whale. Animal rights activists are outraged over the whale hunt as police struggle to keep the peace in the streets of Seattle. Other officers put up a roadblock checking IDs before letting people onto tribal territory.
Well, I think the one that really bothers me is that they're calling us murderers. You know, I think, you know, it's very, it's not the right thing to be doing.
That anger is a good thing to keep in your heart, to keep you going, to motivate you to continue to stand up to defend the whales.
Yesterday's killing of the 30-foot female whale was the first of its kind there in 70 years. Next on the late edition, Senator Stevens is in the center of attention in Washington. We'll tell you why.
And I'm Jackie Purcell coming to you live from Midtown Anchorage. It's quite the festive atmosphere at the Century 16 Theaters. Force fans, you know what's happening this evening. We'll have the latest details on the weather as well during weather.
The Channel 2 News Late Edition, sponsored in part by Sadler's, the only furniture store with a complete 30-day satisfaction money-back guarantee. And by Mactel, clearly the best.
Right now at Sadler's, you can take home any queen size or king size Sealy or Simmons mattress set and pay nothing for 1 full year. That's right, you can start getting a better night's sleep right now and not have to worry about payments or interest charges for 1 full year. Check out the incredible buys, like a Sealy Posturepedic Coil Extra Firm Queen Set for only $4.99. That's 1/2 of what you would expect to pay, and it can be yours without payments or interest for 1 full year. Only at Sadler's Home Furnishings.
Well, I'm gonna do a little fishing, then pack up, and then probably head on up to Prince William Sound. Whoa! Maybe I'll go up around Fairbanks. Nice rack. Hey, no worries. Wherever I go, even southeast, I'll be in touch.
More Alaskans carry a Mactel because a Mactel works in more places, and they start at just $19.99.
Maybe I'll go someplace wild. Then again, maybe not. Maybe I'll just take it easy up at McKinley.
Splendid-looking Lexus. Thanks. Like my Seville, no doubt a technological marvel. Blessed with the control of the world's most renowned driving system. System? Nope, that's right. You don't have the North Star system.
Seville, with all the power and control of the North Star system. It's what's next.
Do I want to know how much? No, it would break your heart.
See the Seville at Alaska Sales and Service, your Alaska Cadillac dealer.
Everybody in the family loves watching the kids grow up, and they do it through pictures.
Grandma and Grandpa.
And they love getting pictures of the girls.
Baby and Papa Jack.
Pictures like this when we're having fun together.
Uncle Chase and Uncle Bob.
Probably the best pictures of Alex are the ones with food on her face.
Yeah.
Uncle Matt.
We take the film to Walmart because we're in there, you know, every week anyway.
And Aunt Lisa.
We just drop our film off and we go shopping, and it's just very convenient.
Bring the stories of your life to Walmart Film Developing.
It's just important for the family to be able to see the girls grow up.
You're watching Alaska's Late Night News Leader, the Channel 2 News Late Edition, with Tim Woolston and Heather Secret.
It's crunch time in Juneau, and lawmakers are burning the midnight oil tonight, but even working overtime, no solutions to next year's state budget yet or a long-term fiscal plan are in sight. No action is expected tonight. One decision Juneau lawmakers have made is to reduce municipal revenue sharing. So the city of Anchorage is looking at two possibilities: cut city services or raise property taxes. Raising taxes is not what the mayor wants.
We've worked for 9 months to bring taxes down this year, and all of a sudden, based on one action, that kind of goes out the windows.
Altogether, capital cuts take $5.8 million from the overall Anchorage budget.
Alaska Senator Ted Stevens collected one of the nation's most honorable awards tonight in Washington. The 30-year veteran of the Senate received the Dwight D. Eisenhower Leadership Prize. Gettysburg College and the Eisenhower World Affairs Institute gave Stevens the award for his efforts toward Alaska's statehood 40 years ago.
I was just a foot soldier in Ike's battle to wage peace. To follow President Bush, Colin Powell, Bob Dole, Lloyd Benson, and Brent Scowcroft is literally an honor that takes my breath away.
Stevens served under President Eisenhower as Solicitor to the Interior Department when Alaska became the 49th state. Mount McKinley enters the world of politics on Capitol Hill. Alaska Congressman Don Young is trying to change the mountain's name to Denali, not only to return its original Athabascan name, but to get even with a fellow congressman. The mountain is named after Ohio's William McKinley, the 25th president. Ohio Congressman Ralph Regula has long fought to keep the name atop North America's highest peak. But last week, the Ohio Republican opposed Alaska's delegation on the Glacier Bay fishing dispute. Young says it's time for payback.
And there's no reason it should be named Mount McKinley. And so if he wants something named that, let him name the Ohio River. Then we call it McKinley River, as far as I'm concerned. But
in a written statement, Regula said he is disappointed and annoyed by Young's action. Coming up, Jackie's in with the latest forecast for South Central Alaska.
And a little later, it's billed to be the biggest hit since the original Star Wars rocked the box office 22 years ago. Phantom Menace opens in Anchorage in less than 2 hours.
One deadline after another. Miss one, and we lose a customer.
Sharp copier and fax technology from Frontier Business Machines.
They're local. They understand our company. And with proven Sharp technology, they've helped us increase workflow.
Frontier Business Machines and Sharp.
We're more efficient, we meet deadlines, we keep our customers.
Frontier Business Machines and Sharp, translating the new language of business.
The event you've been waiting for is here. The biggest selection of award-winning Chrysler and Plymouth cars, now for a limited time during the National Chrysler Plymouth Spring Sales Drive. Get big cash allowances up to $1,500, or our lowest APR 1.9, or low lease rates on select 1999 Chrysler and Plymouth models. The National Chrysler Plymouth Spring Sales Drive, for a limited time only.
See the friendly local Alaska Dodge dealer near you.
Hey, Homer. Homer, I come here, about once a month. But this one, he's here once a week.
Hey, Glenda, look at here. You never go directly to what you want. You've got to roam around. Just what I've been looking for. Every now and then you find things you just are total surprise. Holy smokes. But every time we come in the door, she'll see something.
Look, insulated.
In fact, this morning,
Oh, my goodness.
she immediately found something she couldn't live without.
I have a good eye.
Well, she does have a good eye. She got me.
We were trying to quit smoking. He was trying to help us.
There's been a lot of information given to everybody, and I ignored it.
I didn't pay no attention to it. I figured it ain't gonna happen to me. And the next guy it's gonna happen to never happened to me. Well, I was wrong. You kids can be wrong too. I'll tell you, the smart ones can read the handwriting on the wall. And the handwriting on the wall says, stay away from cigarettes.
I think I better quit.
Introducing chicken salad at Subway. Try our delicious chicken salad sub, handmade right in front of you. Subway, the way a sandwich should be.
Now, Channel 2 weather with Jackie Purcell.
Good evening once again, coming to you live from the Century 16 theaters. It is a big night if you are a fan of the Force. You know what's going on this evening. It is The Phantom Menace. And this is actually a prequel. There have already been some Star Wars movies, but there are lots of fans here, and some of them even dressed up. Saw Darth Vader walking by holding court pretty much. But The Phantom Menace is showing 3 shows starting at midnight tonight at Century 16, but don't think you can come down here. The tickets were sold last week. Now we'll take a look at the weather. It is a gorgeous day in the Anchorage area. Unfortunately, the warm and dry conditions have caused some major problems. Let's get to the current conditions over the local area. We have temperatures as cool as 56 degrees out toward Anchorage International Airport with 66, a warmer reading out toward Muldoon, Fort Rich at 60, and all of the humidity levels pretty much in the Anchorage area down through Kenai and a little farther north are down into the teens. Some areas have hit 20s, but still considered very critical. Now we'll go on to the satellite shot. You can see there's a little bit of a rotation just outside Prince William Sound. A little area of low pressure may start to reform overnight and intensify. That could push some clouds a little farther east into south central Alaska by tomorrow. You can just see the beginnings of that system pushing on into the Bristol Bay and the Aleutians area. As far as temperatures right now across the state, cooling off, so that's a little bit of good news. 54 in Fairbanks. It's still into the high 50s over toward McGrath. Mid-50s for us in the Anchorage area. 48 degrees toward Kenai. Cooling off toward Kodiak Island. Over toward the northwest, temperatures holding into the 40s, 20s for the Arctic slope. And look for more dry conditions to hold through for tomorrow. Our best chance of precipitation coming our way is not tomorrow necessarily, but possibly into Thursday. There's a chance slightly for some afternoon and evening showers. Here's a look at the lower 48, mild for much of the west, but showers and very heavy rain for the east coast. As you put the satellite picture into motion, you can see a squall line still kind of moving off to the east, very slow, just heavy rains at this point, no real severe thunderstorms, and current temperatures across the lower 48 into the 50s in Chicago, 61 right now in New York City, 73 for Miami, towards Seattle, a little cool. They are down in around 50 degrees. Now we'll take a look at the south central Alaska forecast. Some clouds, maybe a chance for some showers, but continued dry conditions with temperatures around 60 to 65 degrees. And for Wasilla, Palmer, and Kenai, mostly cloudy skies, chance for some afternoon showers. Those winds should just start to die down after midnight this evening. For Anchorage, clear tonight, winds diminishing after sunset, a low of 40. Tomorrow's forecast calling for increasing clouds by afternoon, possibly some late day showers, a high around 60 degrees. And here's the 5-day outlook. I guess the clouds are good news because we've had a lot of sunshine. That dry run has caused these very dangerous fire conditions. Now let's get to a lighter note. Again, we're here at the Century 16 Theater where at midnight and 12:30 and also 1 o'clock, they'll be showing The Phantom Menace. Here's a guy with me, Michael Byers, who's been here since 1 o'clock this afternoon. Why are you such a big fan?
It's just something I grew up with. It was a part of my childhood, and now that I'm a little bit older, it's just something special. It gives me a real kind of a chance to go back and relive my childhood. It gives me a chance to do something with my wife that she's also a big Star Wars fan. So it's just something to tell our kids about, I guess.
Okay, a couple of trivia questions. We'll see how big a fan he is. What is Princess Leia's home planet?
That would be Alderaan.
Oh, very good. How many parents did Jabba the Hutt have?
1.
You're correct. Well, you passed. So a lot of dedicated fans out here this evening. Thank you, Michael, for joining us. It should be a great one. Phantom Menace starting tonight at midnight, 12:30 again at 1. Back to you, Tim.
Well, tell him what he's won, Jackie.
I don't have anything.
Oh, great. Okay.
Just
Thanks.
Jackie's present. I'll congratulate him.
Thanks, Jackie. Still to come on the late edition, the Red...
During Adventure 99, buy a Dodge Intrepid, and Dodge will give you your choice of $1,000 cash allowance or a super vacation package worth up to $1,800 at the new Universal Studios Islands of Adventure theme park in Orlando, Florida. Or a vacation package at Universal Studios Hollywood. It's the adventure of a lifetime, and we have the rides to prove it. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Voicemail from KTUU. Free when you make a bundle and save a bunch. Perfect for all you really busy people.
What color towels should we get? We just went to Walmart this morning, and they had tons of stuff for both of our houses. This is my color. Look, look, look. There it is. Purple and red. Her bathroom is purple and red.
Where Stacy's is brown and tan.
And blue.
See? That's fun. We complement each other.
We do complement each other. The home fashions have really changed over the last year. I mean, there's the bright colors for her house. There's the more muted colors for my house.
These colors are gorgeous.
Even the quality is a lot better, don't you think?
Exactly.
The little touches, don't you think?
Right.
Just the little things that make a house a home.
And now, from Alaska's sports leader, here's John Murnay.
Down to the Final Four in hockey.
It's good to be a Colorado sports fan. Yeah. Broncos win it all now. The Avalanche on the way.
Oh, no, more to brag about.
They look pretty good tonight. It's had a home in Hockey Town for 2 years now, but Lord Stanley's Cup is on the move because Detroit is done. The Red Wings' reign ruined by the Avalanche. Game 6 of their series tonight in Motown. First period, Colorado gets the 2-on-1. Valerie Kamensky to Peter Forsberg. He finds the open net, 1-0. Meanwhile, goalie Patrick Waugh continues to deny Detroit. He shut him out in Game 5 and does so for a period and a half tonight. And that allows the Avs to build the lead to 4-0. And then in the third, after Detroit cut it to 4-2, Forsberg gets his second of the night. The unbelievable breakaway move beats Osgood. Colorado loses the first 2 games at home, but they come back to win the next 4. The Avs advance to the Western Conference Final, where Dallas waits. The Eastern Conference Final is also set. Buffalo joins Toronto tonight. The Sabres get a goal and an assist from Michael Pekka. Look at the speed. He beats Ray Bourque. His shot's denied, but Wayne Primo lifts in the rebound to make it a 2-1 game. The Bruins extend it to 3-1, or the Sabres extend it to 3-1 and rely on the dominator the rest of the way. Dominik Hasek, a relatively easy night, turning away 25 Bruin shots. The Sabres win Game 6, 3-2. They take the series 4-2. They get the Maple Leafs next. NBA now, Utah and Portland open their series in Salt Lake City. Karl Malone welcomes Brian Grant to round 2 with a mouthful of elbow. That sets the tone for a physical affair. Portland leads most of the first half. They take a 2-point lead into the locker room, thanks to Damon Stoudemire. But the second half's a different story. The mailman delivers down low. The easy post move for 2 of Malone's 25. Utah pulls away in the fourth as the Blazers go stone cold. Brian Russell finishes on the break. He's solid again off the bench tonight, and the Jazz win it by 10, 93-83. Portland with a playoff record low 5 points in the final period. And in the East, the Knicks surprised Atlanta 100-92 in their opener. It's not really surprising that New York won, but they scored 100 points. Allen Houston leads the way with 34. Here in town, the Region 4 Prep Soccer Tournament kicked off today. 4 first-round games. We begin with the ladies down at AFS. The Chugiak and Diamond girls first half. Chugiak knocks the through ball ahead to Kendra Dodson, and she just barely beats the Diamond goalie to it, flipping it into the net. The Mustangs grab a 1-0 lead, and any goal, of course, must be followed by a huge group hug, and Chugiak pulls off a mild upset, 2-1 over Diamond. The Bartlett girls knock off West 1-0, and up in the Valley Colony shuts out Diamond 1-0. On the boys' side now, the male Mustangs with a surprisingly easy win over West first half, taking advantage of the blowing wind. The centering shot is denied, but right there for the rebound is Justin Dotson to bang in the rebound. The first of 3 first-half goals for Chugiak, and they wax West 5-1. The Stings get top seed service next, and the next one is not a typo. Look at that. Bartlett knocks off Diamond. The Lynx won the state title over the weekend, but they're already eliminated in the regional tournament. And up in the Valley, Colony boys beat Juneau 4-3. Major League Baseball now. The Arizona Diamondbacks remain in first place, and Luis Gonzalez's streak remains alive. Gonzalez wastes little time, extending his hit streak to 30 games. A first-inning 2-run homer off San Francisco's Chris Brock. The D-backs beat the Giants 7-3. Gonzo's 30-game streak matches the longest this decade. Only 37 major leaguers have hit safely in 30 straight. The Major League record, of course, is 56, held by the late Joe DiMaggio. And we will have time for the American League. The world champs get their main manager back tonight, Woolston. Joe Torre returns for the first time since spring training cancer treatment. And his team gets mowed down by Pedro Martinez. The Red Sox righty strikes out 11 Yankees. It's the 7th straight game he struck out at least 10 batters. Only one other guy has done that, Nolan Ryan.
Interesting.
And the Red Sox beat the Yankees 6-3, and the Red Sox are now in first place.
It's early.
All right.
It's only, what is it, May? Yeah, okay.
See you.
Thanks, John.
Next on the late edition, you've heard of going to the dogs, but how about the dinosaurs? Details ahead.
It's the Jeep Spring event, and great deals on your favorite Jeep vehicles are showing up wherever you look. Like a low $269 a month lease on Cherokee Sport, with air, remote keyless entry, and power windows and locks at no extra charge. Or get Jeep Wrangler for under 15 grand. The landscape will never be the same during the Jeep Spring event, the event that's getting everyone to sit up and take notice. Get these speakers when you buy or lease a Cherokee or Grand Cherokee with Infinity Sound.
Discover Anchorage Christian Schools, the family Christian school where no family pays more than $750 per month, grades K through 12, with over 850 students from 53 area churches and different denominations since 1972. New students who enroll before the end of May will receive a 5% discount on tuition. Discover ACS, challenging programs in Bible, academics, both college prep and general studies, computers, athletics, and music. Enroll now in Anchorage Christian Schools, Alaska's largest Christian school. 337-9575.
Last night, we promised you a special report exploring the various ethnic groups that make Alaska their full-time home. But because of the wildfires blazing in the valley, the northern melting pot has been put on hold. It will instead begin tomorrow night on the late edition.
Looking forward to that. Finally tonight, we've already heard about the film Phantom Menace tonight, but we can also remember another popular movie, Jurassic Park. Well, a place a lot like it is coming alive in Alabama. It's called Dino Domain. It's a 3.5-acre section inside the popular theme park Visionland in Birmingham. The undeveloped wild habitat has been set aside for animated dinosaurs representing 36 species. The creatures can move their eyes, hands, legs, and tail. Some will even interact with park guests. The exhibit opens Memorial Day weekend. Interesting.
A little scary for me. Anyway, be sure to tune in with Sheila tomorrow at 6:30 on the morning edition for all the latest on the wildfires in the valley. Good night.
Good night.
The Channel 2 News Late Edition, sponsored in part by Frontier Business Machines, serving Alaska's business community in Anchorage, Kenai, and Fairbanks. And by Alaska Sales and Service, where you're in the driver's seat.
Oh, no. No. What are you doing? Give me the bag. Stance is all wrong. Check this out. Come to Papa.
The Saturn wagon. It's easy to maintain, dent-resistant doors.
Woo. Good pitch. I'll see you guys later.
That's a big deal.
Tomorrow on Today, how long will you live? How do you know? Can you change your destiny? Take our quiz and find out. A special series tomorrow on Today.